Many thanks for joining us. This is the news on Galaxy Television, broadcasting to viewers here in Nigeria, West Africa, and around the globe. My name is Tife Tanimomo. Our top stories. 15 kidnapped students of Bethel Baptist High School, Kaduna, regain freedom from captivity. Plus, on the news, Social Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, sues President Muhammadu Buhari over misappropriation of 106 billion naira. And one will take you outside Nigeria. Amidst evacuation of citizens in Afghanistan, deadly chaos continues at Kabul airport. Those are top stories. We'll bring you details shortly. A very warm welcome to you. Thanks for joining us on the news once again. I'll begin with security stories. As kidnapped mother of the Secretary to the Bayelsa State Government, Madam Bettina Benson, has been released by her abductors. She was said to have been rescued by operatives of the Bayelsa State Police Operation Puff Ada, who stormed a hideout after a month search. The SSG's mother has since reunited with her family. Still tracking security matters, 15 kidnapping students of Bethel Baptist High School, Kaduna, have been released by bandits. The bandits had earlier released 28 of the abducted 121 students of the Bethel Baptist High School on Sunday, 25th July, after about 50 million naira was paid. Speaking to newsmen, clergy Israel Akonji, the national president of Bethel Baptist Convention, says they're glad to have the students back and prays that the remaining students will be released soon by their abductors. Akonji also said the 15 students were released Saturday night, but they had to take them to freshen up after such a long time in captivity.
These 15 children, although the number is smaller than what we were expecting because we have 78, we had 78 out there. They've given us 15, that means 63 to come. But in everything, God says we should give thanks, and we are giving thanks for what He has done, and we are trusting that the same God who has brought these 15 out is going to help us to receive the other 63.
In between our last meeting with you for the release of the 28, I know you have heard that some of them escaped. So that is why you can see the figure is not following whatever we said earlier. I don't have much to say about that, but one thing that we know, the bandit is asking us to give them something.
Meanwhile, at least 9 people have been killed and several others injured as gunmen attack Ogwando Mado village in Zagonkatav local government area of Kaduna State. 2 houses were also burnt during the attack. The State Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Aruwan, who confirmed the attack in a statement on Sunday, said the assailants fled the community on citing troops of Operation Safe Haven who responded to distress calls. He further said that the troops rescued 12 persons who were fleeing from the attackers. And now in Benue State, Governor Samuel Otom has tasked security operatives to arrest those responsible for the killing of 2 pastors, Moses Ijoko and Emmanuel Aleje, in Ochoro community of Koshisha local government area in Benue State. The 2 pastors were shot dead by gunmen suspected to be Bunta boys on Tuesday on the way to the hospital for medical checkup and their motorbike taken away. The governor, who condemns the murder of the pastors, describes the incident as unacceptable. In a statement issued to newsmen in Makurdi by the Chief Press Secretary to Governor Teve Akasek, warns those jeopardizing the state government's efforts to end the crisis between the local governments that they won't escape justice no matter who they are. He reaffirmed the resolve of his administration not to surrender the state to criminals. However, appeals to Benue people to support security agencies with timely and useful information to enable them succeed. And now, the Ondo State government has commended the Plateau State government over its quick response in rescuing some of the survivors of the attack, where 25 residents of the state were caught and killed along Rubuka Road, just north by some hoodlums. The Plateau State government, led by the Deputy Governor, Sonny Theoden, returned an undisclosed number of the surviving victims to the attack of the states. Akeredolu, who was represented in the state by Deputy Governor Honorable Lucky Aiyedatiwa, said the victims, who are from northern part of the country, were not seen as Hausa Fulani people but citizens of the state because most of them were born and based in the state.
Delegation come here, led by me, to convey the feelings, the condolences of himself as the governor, the government, and the people of Plateau State over what has happened. Definitely what happened was quite a shock, even to us on the plateau.
If not for that quick response, we would not be having what we're having here today. That response actually brought about the survivors. As we mourn those who passed on during the attack, I also want to thank God for those of you that survived the attack.
Now, away from security-related matters, the Socioeconomic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, has sued President Muhammadu Buhari over his failure to probe allegations that 106 billion naira of public funds are missing from 149 ministries, departments and agencies MDAs, and to ensure the prosecution of those suspected to be responsible and the recovery of any missing public funds. The suits followed allegations by the Office of the Auditor General of the Federation in its 2018 annual audited report that over 105 billion naira of public funds are missing, misappropriated or accounted for across 149 MDAs. SERAP argued that recovering the alleged missing public funds would reduce the pressure of the federal government to borrow more money to fund the budget and enable the authorities to meet the country's constitutional and international obligations and reduce the growing level of public debt. However, no date has been fixed for the hearing of the suit. You're still on to Galaxy Television News. We'll take a break now, but in the part 2 of the news after the break, the National Association of Resident Doctors refuses assent to a new memorandum of understanding to end the 3-week-old strike. We'll bring you details of that story shortly. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're still on to the news on Galaxy Television. Now for more updates and latest news, visit our website at www.galaxytvonline.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/GalaxyTV Nigeria. You can follow or interact with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/GalaxyTV. Don't forget to follow and tag us on our Instagram page at official Galaxy TV. You can also avail our eyewitness feature via WhatsApp. If you have breaking news around you, simply share your story by sending short clips or videos of the news on 0818-6666-669. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate your live updates and comments. And now to health-related matters, the leadership of the National Association of Resident Doctors, NARD, has refused assent to a new memorandum of understanding brokered by the Nigerian Medical Association to end the 3-week-old strike that has crippled medical services in government hospitals across the country. NARD President Ilawa Okoye-Asuyi declined his assent owing to an undisclosed clause on the new agreement. According to the director, NARD's leadership has to consult with members of the association before it can append a signature. Addressing newsmen after the over 6 hours closed-door meeting on Saturday night, Minister of Labor and Employment Chris Ngige said all other unions in the negotiation, including the Nigerian Medical Association and Medical and Dental Consultants of Nigeria, signed the new agreement, having agreed on all issues raised. Dr. Ngige also clarified that the meeting did not discuss the issue of no work, no pay, but said all parties in the meeting agreed to an out-of-court settlement.
NARD pleaded with us to consult their members on an item which they want us to include in the conditions of the Memorandum of Understanding. Clause that nobody will be victimized for any activity connected with, for or against participating in the industrial action.
The federal government had taken the striking doctors to court last week as it asked the National Industrial Court to mandate the doctors to return to work. The hearing on the case was adjourned to September 15, 2021. Now, according to reports as at August 12, 2021, about 1,000 Boko Haram terrorists have surrendered to the Nigerian troops at Kudunga, Koza and Bama in Borno State. In view of this, some Nigerians have expressed fears over the surrender of the terrorists to Nigerian troops and the kid glove treatment they are receiving from government. Many, including security, business and religious leaders who spoke to Galaxy News at the retirement celebration of AIG Ahmed Eliyasu retired, affirmed that their fears were based on the earlier de-radicalization of 600 repentant terrorists by the Nigerian army under its Safe Corridor program in Gombe State, adding that it will be difficult for them to reintegrate the repentant terrorists into the communities. They further urged the federal government to apply caution, and as mistakes will lead to grave consequences in the future.
What they've put Nigeria through, I don't think they should be forgiven. I think they should be taught a lesson, otherwise others will go the same way as the bandits and the terrorists. And this goes everywhere in the world where the terrorists are apprehended. They're given a thorough lesson by maybe jail sentence, or in some countries where they have death penalties, they face such penalties.
These questions don't admit of no and yes answers, because it is not that simplistic. There are arguments, both sides of a divide. There are people that think that why should we indulge them? And there are people that think, see, the only way forward is to give a bit of indulgence. I expect and I recommend that the government of the day should take all the issues holistically, put them side by side, and take a decision that they consider to be the best interest of the people at this point of time.
But I know through community policing, which is the general agenda by the federal government, there will be a solution to some of these problems.
Meanwhile, reflecting on the celebrants, they described him as a man who explored the concept of community policing and a humane police boss with outstanding contributions to policing in the country. They charged other officers still in service to emulate AIG Ahmed's experience in the field.
Everything Ilyasu used is 70% people, 30% gone, 30% force. His own type of Nigerian police is dialogue, using the people of the community, even the criminals. They are living among us. Ilyasu will give them assurance, we will persuade them to the extent that they will give information without fear. And he used to protect whoever that give information. So he used the people of community to succeed in everything he's doing.
He's a kind of guy that he mingles with people very well. I remember when he first came as our CP in Ogun State, he was accepted by everybody through his attitude and the way he respected the people in Ogun State. So I think there's a lot of lesson everybody has to learn from.
So honesty is the hallmark of whatever you are seeing today. The people are the mirror of the society. They serve the people. We are public servants. Police is a public servant. We serve the people. So the moment you are able to engender that confidence and trust through honesty, integrity, excellent service delivery, that will be your epitaph. That is what you are going to leave behind in the sands of history. Value change in terms of remuneration and the welfare of the police, that's quite remarkable. This will further enhance quality service delivery.
And now to other matters yet again in Benue State, as Governor Samuel Ortom said his administration will approach the law court should the federal government insist on creating grazing routes and grazing areas in violation of the Land Use Act of the state. Governor Samuel Ortom, who stated that the Land Use Act is clear, says any attempt to subvert his right as a governor through creation of non-existent cattle routes will be resisted with legal actions. Governor Ortom stated that there is already serious food crisis in the country due to insecurity, and if nothing is done to curtail the trend, the situation will get worse in coming years. And on to health-related matters, the Lagos State Ministry of Health says over 500 deaths have been recorded in isolation centers across the state. Director of Public Affairs, Ministry of Health, Lagos State, Tumbosun Ogunbanwo, made this known in a statement on Sunday titled COVID Third Wave Mitigation, Lagos to Sanction Airing Inbound Passengers. Ogunbanwo explains increase in fatalities recorded in the state, though he said over 500 had been recovered. Recorded data on the website of the Nigerian Center for Disease Control showed that Lagos has recorded 47 deaths as of 21st of August. And now to educational matters, the immediate past national president of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, Professor Biodun Ogunyemi, has insisted that only adequate funding of education was ravaging COVID-19 pandemic in Nigeria. Now, correspondent John Felix has details of this report.
The lecture, titled Academic Culture During and After COVID-19 in Nigeria Tertiary Institution, remains apt as Nigeria continues to battle the new variant of the COVID-19 in parts of the country. Ogunyemi, a professor of social studies and citizenship education, says it is regrettable that when other countries of the world are increasing their budget for education with the aim of finding solution to COVID-19, Nigeria is retrogressing by cutting its budget for education in the face of the ravaging virus.
Like I give you the example of Bayero University, Kano. When they failed in Kano and they could not manage the crisis, it was BUK that came to their rescue because they got some grants that they have used to equip their laboratories. And they were now using the laboratories of Bayero University, Kano. You can imagine what would have happened if laboratories all over the country had been fully equipped. We wouldn't have had that much death that we had. Because before they turned to BUK, people were dying like flies in Kano, and they were trying to suppress the information. So, until and unless government is ready to fund our universities, we will not get our act right in the area of research and development.
Former ASU president insists that the outbreak of COVID-19 provides a good opportunity for the Nigerian government to empower the university for global reckoning. On our part, the chairman, Federal College of Education, Oshiele, Abeokuta branch of the Colleges of Academic Staff Union, Dr. Kemioni, says the seminar was organized to provide solutions to the myriads of challenges confronting the education sector, especially in the face of the ravaging COVID-19 pandemic.
Look at those who developed AstraZeneca vaccine in Oxford. They worked with researchers. They got it to the point of patent. Industries took over. So that is what we call triple helix. Government will provide money and the enabling environment. Researchers will be commissioned to do the work, and industries will be ready to buy the patent. And that is when they will make it. They will adopt the innovation, and it will become commercialized.
What actually prompted us is because why growing up for somebody that stayed in academic environment, we realized that the academic culture imbibed then was well respected by the society. And you see the issue of corruption even in the society was greatly reduced then. And so there is this beautiful molding of students, bringing out the quality of students, even the teachers, the lecturers, the researchers, the students, they were all happy. They were all working together hand in hand. But we realized that maybe because of the decadence in the society, maybe because of the insensitivity of the government to the educational sector, then we also frown at the rate of the corruption in the society. This has drastically lowered the educational sector, despite the fact that in our tertiary institution, especially in this college, we try our best to lecture, to research, and to do all necessary things.
The consensus here is that government at all levels in Nigeria must change their attitude to education funding to enable academics respond appropriately to the challenge of COVID-19, now and in the near future, within the mandate of their academic institution. From Oshiele in Ogun State, John Felix reporting for Galaxy Television News.
Now, Chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum, Kayode Fayemi, and Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu have joined other prominent Nigerians to commiserate with the Ogun State Governor, Dapo Abiodun, on the call to glory of his father, Emmanuel Adesonya Abiodun, who died at the age of 89. Speaking at the family house in Ikberu, Ikene, local government area of the state, the two governors eulogized the fond memories of the dead, especially his service to the advancement of humanity and contribution to education development in the old western Nigeria. Prayers were offered to God to give the family the fortitude to bear the vacuum left behind by the late father.
I felt the pain and the fact that he couldn't be by his bedside. My brother, my other brother, and family members, I want to assure you that Papa has gone to rest in the bosom of the Most High God, and his memories, and I'm sure very fond memories for that matter, will continue to linger on. I believe and I can see from all of you, members of the Abiodun family, that indeed Baba lived a good life.
But we thank God for the life of excellence, a life of service, and a life of sacrifice that Dr. Emmanuel Adesonya Abiodun lived. Clearly, he served the people, mentored many, produced many who have gone on to become champions in their own various professions.
Our heartfelt condolences with the families of the departed. Now, the media has been charged to always set agenda and direction towards national growth and security in the country. The Ondo State's Deputy Governor, Honorable Lucky Aiyedatiwa, gave this challenge at the Correspondence Chapel of the Nigerian Union of Journalists (NUJ) annual lecture tagged Roles of the Society and Media in Security Challenges in Akure, the Ondo State capital. Aiyedatiwa, who represented the governor at the occasion, emphasized the importance for the fourth estate as a way of bridging unity, peace and security consciousness across all divides of polity.
That the media sets agenda for themselves in tackling insecurity. It must also provide the needed avenue or platform for all leaders, either political, ethnic leaders, religious leaders, and so on and so forth, to preach and admonish the society.
Earlier, while delivering his lecture, the guest speaker, Honorable Joseph Akinlaja, a former House of Representative member, said the media role of giving out correct and accurate information dissemination to the public while also making sure that national security is not threatened.
I also want to appeal to who want to give information, to give correct information, not to give diversion to the police. So this is very critical. If you say something, say something. If you say something to security people, they should not disclose the source, so that they can have confidence of the society, for society to be able to always say something.
The chairman of the occasion, Professor Olukoya, charged political leaders to bridge the wide gap between the rich and the poor. He said this will go a long way in reducing the insecurity of the land.
There has to be a question, and that is a society that places too much value on material position, on materialism, and that is because we have too many powerful people in Nigeria. You know, the socio-economic inequality. You know, some people are so hungry, some people don't have anything, whereas a few, very few segments of the population, they have everything.
Present at the function are security chiefs and other dignitaries. Awards were also given to various individuals for their impact on service to humanity. You're still on to Galaxy Television News. We're due for yet another break, but when we return, the chairman of the Appeal Committee for the World Congress of All Progressives Congress in Oyo State, Chijioke Ozuemena, expresses optimism for success in the next general election. We'll bring you details of that story and more in just a moment. Stay with us, please. Many thanks for staying with us on the news. We sincerely appreciate it. Now, the chairman of the Appeal Committee for the World Congress of All Progressives Congress in Oyo State, Chijioke Ozo Emena has expressed his optimism that members would work together for the success of the party at the next general election. In a statement issued at the end of the sitting and made available to newsmen in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, the appeal panel had interactions with members of the party from a number of wards in the state. The committee assured all aggrieved members that all their grievances would be well attended to by the relevant authorities as soon as possible. In another development, the State Working Committee of the party under the leadership of Chief Akin Oke has ruled out possibilities of implosion in the party. Okay, after an emergency meeting of the caretaker committee held at the secretariat of the party in Okeado, declared that the party would emerge better and stronger after the nationwide congresses. Still on matters that pertain to security, the Delta State Police Command has arrested 7 suspects for armed robbery and cultism in different locations across the state. In a statement made available to newsmen by the State Police spokesman, Ed Afebright, said 4 of the suspects were arrested for armed robbery in Sapele community, as the remaining 3 were apprehended at Ogara community, all in Delta State. The Commissioner, Mohammed Ali, warned criminals to desist from the criminal act or face the full wrath of the law. And now to drug-related matters, a major drug dealer wanted for attempting to export 69.65 kilograms of cocaine, heroin, and cannabis to the United Kingdom through the NAPCO export shed of the Murtala Mohammed International Airport has been arrested at a church in Ojodu, Lagos State. Operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, had traced the wanted drug dealer, Stephen Afamike Anyowu, on Sunday, 15th August 2021 to a popular Pentecostal church at Mike Ajari Street, Ojodubega, where they arrested him soon after he stepped out of the church service. According to the NDLEA Director of Media and Advocacy, Femi Babafemi, also at the Lagos Airport, NDLEA operatives arrested an Italy-bound passenger, Abibu Mimino, during the outward clearance of passengers on Ethiopian Airways flight to Italy via Addis Ababa for ingesting illicit drugs. Meanwhile, a South Africa returnee, Obi Chigoze Samuel, was also later arrested on Sunday at the Lagos International Airport during the inward clearance of Ethiopian Airlines from Addis Ababa for importing 58 grams of skunk into Nigeria. During the preliminary interview, he admitted ownership and claimed to be a cannabis smoker. You are still on to Galaxy Television News. It's now time for us to track stories that made our headlines last week.
And now tracking stories that made headlines last week. On Monday, President Muhammadu Buhari signed the Petroleum Industry Bill 2021 into law, working from home in 5 days quarantine as required by the Presidential Steering Committee on COVID-19. After returning from London on Friday, August 13, the President assented to the bill in his determination to fulfill his constitutional duty. Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, in a statement, said the ceremonial part of the new legislation will be done on Wednesday after the days of mandatory isolation would have been completed. The Petroleum Industry Act provides legal, governance, regulatory, and fiscal framework for the Nigerian petroleum industry, the development of host communities, and related matters. Also on Monday, the Yoruba Self-Determination Group, known as Ilano Omo Odua, headed by Professor Banji Akintoye, says the group was not a terrorist group to be proscribed by the federal government. The group made the clarification following reports that the federal government was planning to proscribe the group. Professor Akintoye, in a statement through his communications manager, Maxwell Adeleye, declared that the Buhari government won't want to descend so low to outlaw the group. According to him, he said the group is not a terrorist group, but a peaceful self-determination association with a belief in referendum and sensitization through rallies. Still on Monday, the Nigerian government said the country must achieve 70% vaccination coverage to achieve significant degree of immunity. This is as the country flagged off the second phase of the vaccines rollout. Minister of Health, Dr. Isagi Hanire, made this known at the flag-off ceremony held at the Federal Medical Center, Abuja. The health minister said countries with well-developed health systems are still being ravaged by the virus despite their high vaccination rate. Hence, Nigeria must not rest on her laurels. Nigeria made significant investment in COVID-19 vaccines in recent months and has equally benefited from support from other world powers like the United States and UK. Away from Monday, on Tuesday, Nigeria received 699,760 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccines from the British government. The official handover of the vaccine doses to Executive Secretary of the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency held at the cold storage unit close to the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja. This was part of the 3.9 million doses of the AstraZeneca vaccines donated to complement what Nigeria had in the first phase of the national vaccine rollout. In his submission, Executive Director, National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Dr. Faisal Shuaib, once again assured of the safety and effectiveness of vaccines in Nigeria. He said another batch of the AstraZeneca vaccines donated by Canada are also on the way. Also on Tuesday, the Ogun State government said it's prepared for the rollout of the second phase of vaccination to members of the public following the installation of the ultra-cold chain for the storage of COVID-19 vaccines. Commissioner for Health in that state, Dr. Tomi Kuka, made this known shortly after inspecting the cold room for the storage of the COVID-19 vaccines. She noted that it is important for everyone to be vaccinated, stressing that no one is safe until 70% of the population have been fully vaccinated. She added that the state is yet to receive the vaccines from the federal government, with a pledge to commence rollout once the state gets the vaccines. Still on Tuesday, a group under the aegis of the Nigerian Indigenous Nationalities Alliance for Self-Determination called for the eradication of the current constitution ahead of the 2023 general elections. According to the spokesperson of the group, Dr. Pedro Obaseki, the 1999 constitution is a fraud and a forgery that is responsible for the killings, poverty and insecurity in the country. Speaking to newsmen, he said the only way Nigeria can get true freedom is by ensuring that the current constitution does not serve the basis for the conduct of the 2023 elections. On his part, the General Secretary of the group, Tony Nadi, noted that the defeat of the 1999 constitution would guarantee the safety and economic welfare of Nigerians. He further added that the immediate suspension of preparations towards the general elections in 2023 is urgently required in order to avoid the implosion of Nigeria. Meanwhile, on Wednesday, President Muhammadu Buhari commenced implementation of the newly signed Petroleum Industry Act, PIA, by approving a steering committee to oversee the process. Special advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, in a statement, said the committee is headed by the Honorable Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Timipre Silva. Other members of the committee, Adesina said the primary responsibility of the steering committee shall be to guide the effective and timely implementation of the PIA and the course of transition to the petroleum industry envisaged in the reform programs, and ensure that the new institutions created have the full capacity to deliver on their mandate under the new legislation. The committee has 12 months duration for the assignment, and periodic updates will be given to Mr. President. Still on Wednesday, Ondo State Governor Rotimi Akeredolu swore in Justice Williams Akintoroye as the acting Chief Judge of the state, with a charge to live up to the dictates of his calling. Governor Akeredolu made this known at the Cocoa Conference Hall, Governor's Office, Akure, that the judiciary should represent hope for all and sundry. Justice Akintoroye's appointment followed the retirement of the former Chief Judge, Justice Olutoyin, after attaining statutory retirement age of 65. In his remarks, the new acting Chief Judge promised to work collectively with the two arms of government for the upliftment of the state. Still tracking stories that made headlines last week, on Thursday, President Muhammadu Buhari warned security chiefs that he is not prepared to exit office as a failure and is prepared to make fresh changes if necessary to turn things around in the various theaters of operation in the ongoing war against insecurity. He made the declaration at the Presidential Villa Abuja during the National Council on Security meeting, which he presided over at the First Lady Conference Room. The meeting with heads of security agencies was to receive updates on security operations around the country. Briefing State House correspondent at the end of the meeting, the National Security Advisor, Major General Babagana Muguno, retired, who conveyed Mr. President's decision to correspondent after the meeting, said the President also expressed his readiness to make more changes in the security architecture of the country if necessary. He revealed that all the issues brought before the President centered mainly on the successes recorded in the operations in the Northeast. Still on Thursday, Senator Godswill Akpabio said oil firms operating in the Niger Delta have defaulted in their statutory remittances to the Niger Delta Development Commission (NDDC) to the tune of $4 billion. Akpabio, who is the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, made the claim at the weekly ministerial briefing held at the State House, Abuja. He noted that oil firms operating in the Niger Delta region are expected to provide 3% of their annual budget to the Commission, but none has complied with this. The minister stressed that the Ministry of Niger Delta will take a keen interest in the implementation of the 3% Petroleum Industry Act (PIA) compensation to host communities. The former Akwa Ibom State Governor also reaffirmed that the NDDC owes contractors 3 trillion naira. He however explained that not all awarded contracts with cost can be regarded as debt. Meanwhile, on Friday, Governor Samuel Ortom again rejected the reopening of grazing routes and grazing reserves being planned by the federal government in Benue State. The Benue State Governor is responding to President Muhammadu Buhari's speech directing a review of grazing 368 routes and grazing reserves in 25 states of the Federation, with a directive that it be handled with dispatch. The Benue State Governor is responding to President Muhammadu Buhari's speech directing a review of grazing 368 routes and grazing reserves in 25 states of the Federation, with a directive that it be handled with, quote, dispatch. Governor Tombu spoke in Boko local government area of Benue State, said the people rejected the policy in its entirety and that if the president wants lands in Benue State, he should seek his permission and he will in turn seek the consent of the people of Benue. Governor Tom further emphasized that the president cannot say that cattle routes and grazing areas will be designated in Benue State. This, he said, the state will not accept. And finally, on tracking stories that made headlines last week, still on Friday, some unknown gunmen reportedly killed 5 indigents in Osun State who were said to be going to their farms in Toto Village in the early hours of Friday. Some residents who confirmed the incident disclosed that people from the affected community and police have evacuated the corpses of the deceased. Findings reveal that the police arrived while tensions was on the high side. Those killed were said to be indigents of Modakeke. The situation was said to have led to the tensions between youth in Ile-Ife and Modakeke. When contacted, the spokesperson of the Osun State Police Command confirmed the story, stressing that more officers had been deployed to the area. And that's it on tracking stories that made headlines last week.
You're still on the news on Galaxy Television. Now let's join our international desk for more news.
Welcome to the international scene. The Pentagon says it is formally seeking airlift help from commercial airlines to relocate evacuees from Afghanistan once they have gotten out of the country. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin on Sunday activated the initial stage of the Civil Reserve Air Fleet program, asking for 18 aircraft, 3 each from American Airlines. Pentagon Press Secretary John Kirby said the department does not anticipate a major impact to commercial flights from this activation. According to Kirby, those aircraft will not fly to Hamid Karzai International Airport in Kabul. They will be used to move passengers from way stations once they leave Kabul, allowing the U.S. military to focus on the Afghanistan portion of the evacuation. This comes as the U.S. Embassy issued a new security warning telling citizens not to travel to Kabul airport unless instructed by a U.S. government representative, and as President Joe Biden warned, he could not predict the outcome of one of the most difficult airlifts in history. Russia's president has criticized Western nations for seeking to temporarily house Afghan refugees in Central Asian countries, citing security concerns for Russia. Speaking at a meeting with top officials of the Kremlin's United Russia Party on Sunday, President Vladimir Putin blasted what he described as a, quote, humiliating approach by Western states. In the meantime, a woman evacuated from Afghanistan amid the continuing chaos in the country has given birth on an evacuation flight. U.S. Air Mobility Command posted a Twitter thread about the woman who went into labor en route to Germany. Medical personnel boarded the plane after it landed and delivered the baby in the aircraft's cargo hold. Both baby and mother are said to be in good condition at a nearby medical facility. The thread said at one point on the journey, the pregnant woman began having complications. The pilot had to descend in order to increase air pressure on board the plane, which helped stabilize and save the mother's life. Thousands of Afghans are outside the international airport in the capital, Kabul, days after the Taliban took control of the city, waiting in the sweltering heat and a throng of people for a chance to flee the country. U.S. forces currently control the airport. About 17,000 people have so far been airlifted from the site by the U.S. military, the White House said on Saturday. U.S. President Joe Biden has set a deadline of 31 August for the withdrawal of all U.S. troops from the country. However, several nations are seeking an extension to this deadline to help safely evacuate their citizens and Afghans who served with Western agencies. It is feared they are at risk of Taliban reprisals. Still tracking stories on the international scene, residents on the U.S. East Coast have been urged to prepare for one of the most powerful storms in years. Tropical Storm Henry, which is expected to hit New York's Long Island and southern part of New England on Sunday, has weakened from a hurricane, but officials say the threat to the region remains high. A state of emergency has been declared in part of New York State as winds of up to 75 mph and as much as 6 inches of rain are expected. On Saturday, when the storm was initially upgraded to a hurricane, Federal Emergency Management Agency Administrator told newsmen that even if it doesn't make landfall as a hurricane, the tropical force winds and the storm surge can cause significant damage. On Saturday evening, a concert taking place in New York City's Central Park was abruptly stopped due to approaching severe weather, police said. About 60,000 people were thought to be attending the homecoming concert, a celebration of the city's return to hosting large events following the restrictions caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. About 6 million people living near the coast in parts of Long Island, Connecticut, and Massachusetts had been issued with hurricane warnings before the storm was downgraded. More than 36 million people in large parts of the southern New England, as well as New York and New Jersey, had received tropical storm warnings. And finally, on the international scene, the arrival of the highly infectious Delta variant does raise some big questions about New Zealand's pandemic response, a minister has said. COVID-19 response minister Chris Hipkins said the variant changes the game considerably and makes existing protections look less adequate. It comes as the country announced a further 21 confirmed cases in the latest outbreak of the virus. New Zealand had gone 6 months without a single COVID infection. The country was praised for its rapid, strict lockdown measures in 2020, which effectively stopped the spread of the virus. Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern has repeatedly referred to New Zealand as, quote, our team of 5 million. According to the Johns Hopkins University data, there have been 3,016 total confirmed cases in the country and 26 reported deaths. But authorities recently announced a snap lockdown after one man tested positive in Auckland with the Delta variant. There are now 72 active cases. 7 schools in the city have reported positive cases among students, and the country has also announced 6 infections in the capital, Wellington. Officials are now warning that they will probably extend the Auckland lockdown, which is set to expire on Tuesday. Speaking to the media on Sunday, Mr. Hipkins said eliminating the virus inside New Zealand was still the government's aim. And that's it on the international scene.
You're still watching the news on Galaxy Television. Now we'll go on a quick commercial break. When we return, more news come your way. Stay with us, please.
It's a very hard job to catch moving babies and change their diapers. With Molfix pants, changing diapers is now very easy. I tear it and take it off where I catch her. Pull the new one up in a moment, wrap up the used diaper and throw it away. Both me and my baby are happy. This is how the happiness movement spreads. Come on, mothers, try Molfix pants. Join our happiness movement.
Welcome back. Now let's switch gears and do some entertainment for a moment. Stay with us.
Popular Nigerian singer Mayokon is of the opinion that a lot of people who think they are sad or depressed are just broke. In a video, the young man noted that sometimes people are not sad or depressed, but they just don't have money. On a sad note, Nollywood actress Doris Chima is dead. The veteran actress died after a long battle with breast cancer. Meanwhile, dancer Kafi has shared some more on our opinion on the never-ending debate of submission in marriage. In a post shared on our Instagram page this morning, the mom of two stressed that marriage should be seen as an assignment and not a reward. On a congratulatory note, media personality Tomike Adeoye and her husband have welcomed their first child, a baby girl. Mochede has told women not to assume that they are dating a man who hasn't asked them out. Actor Timini Egwusin's ex-girlfriend has called him out on Twitter, accusing him of targeting naive teenage girls for relationship. Now talking about the Big Brother show, at the beginning of the Big Brother Naija show, Biggie revealed to the housemates that there are 2 white cards among them and tasked them with the job of fishing them out. Khloe Kardashian has shocked the world by taking back her cheating baby daddy Tristan Thompson for the 3rd time. Actress Chita Agu Johnson turned a year older today, August 18, 2021. She shared lovely new photos from her birthday photo shoot. Now giving update on Timini Egwusin and his ex-girlfriend's allegation. Actor Timini Egwusin has reacted after his ex-girlfriend Lydia Balogun called him out. Meanwhile, on another note, actress Uche Jumbo took to her Instagram page early in the morning to share a piece of advice. According to her, people should avoid anyone who only call them up for enjoyment and not to share business ideas. Also on a celebratory mood, one of Nigeria's top celebrity couple, the Njokos, recently had fans celebrating with them after they clocked a milestone in their marriage. The American comedian Colin Judd has confirmed that his wife Scarlett Johansson is expecting their first child.
There appears to be trouble in the paradise of celebrity couple Paul Okoye of P Square and his wife Anita. Reports recently made the rounds on social media that the couple was parting ways after what appeared to be their divorce papers leaked online. And on a happy note, actress Queen Okoye has shared beautiful pictures of her daughter Aluchi, who turns 3 today, August 20th. And now music executive Precious P Money has given a 500,000 cash gift to former BB Naija housemate KV. Popular Nigerian actress Tinto Dike's new boyfriend, Prince Bukbogri, recently had people talking after an audio credited to him leaked on social media. And that's the much we can take for now, but for more updates and latest news, visit our website at www.galaxytv online or subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/GalaxyTV Nigeria. You can follow or interact with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/GalaxyTV. Don't forget to follow and tag us on our Instagram page at official GalaxyTV. You can also avail our eyewitness feature via WhatsApp. If you have breaking news around you, simply share your story by sending short clips or videos of the news on 0818-6666-669. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate your live updates and comments. On behalf of the entire production team, we say many thanks to all our esteemed viewers around the globe for sticking with us to the end of the news this far. My name is Tife Tanimomo. Let's do this again some other time. Bye for now.